You have to have a mindset that you're not just moving furniture, you're moving people's lives. I think you have to deal with your highs and lows in a balanced manner. I think that's number one. I think some of the biggest mistakes that people make is they get the cheapest movers and have the greatest expense in the end.
Meet the man who started with nothing but a car, some candy, and a dream. Greg Fluker. From knocking on doors across Rancho Cucamonga to building one of the most trusted moving companies in Southern California. Over a decade, over 8,000 moves. His mission, honoring every family's transition by treating every move like it matters. Because to Greg, it was never about the furniture. It was always about the lives.
I started in this industry because I saw a need. I wanted to bring professionalism. I wanted to bring reliability. Good people and good systems will give you a good product.
Greg Fluker, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me on.
For a person who doesn't know you, how would you introduce yourself?
Well, before I talk about myself, I want to say first, I want to thank the Most High for waking me up this morning in a healthy manner. It's really important to me. It's an important part of my life. But I would introduce myself as a father, a husband, a leader, a coach. Some people might call me a country boy.
Why is that? Why country boy?
Well, I was born in Fairmont, West Virginia.
Oh.
I have a lot of California in me now, but I'm still a country boy. But I am the founder of Big Deals Movers in Rancho Cucamonga, and we've been around for more than a decade. And in this period of time, we've been able to service more than 8,000 moves.
8,000?
Yeah, 8,000 moves and 2,000 gun safes. So we have a wide range of services we provide.
Since when have you started?
Well, we started in 2014.
Okay.
And we grew from word of mouth and referrals. It's been a huge support to us. And I started in this industry because I saw a need. I wanted to bring professionalism. I wanted to bring reliability, and also wanted to bring true care to the moving experience. And throughout this time, I've came to the realization that moving is probably one of the most stressful days of people's lives. And when someone is under that level of stress, and I'm talking about we move families, residential families, commercial moves, even realtors and property managers, we've assisted them with their transition. You have to have a mindset that you're not just moving furniture, you're moving people's lives. And that's what's important. And that's helped us get to where we are currently today.
I love what you said. And we've witnessed, I've moved so many times in my life, but every time it is very stressful, as you said. But walk me through your life before you took the plunge and start Big Deal Movers.
Well, I had just come out of the fitness industry. I had worked for a large fitness corporation for over 8 years, and I was there recruiting and developing and maintaining talent, operating a sales team, a fitness team. So moving has components that were similar. However, in my transition, I was hired to consult a colleague who had just acquired a moving and delivery company. And my goal was to come in to help establish culture, help him to hire, and help him develop. It was not in his range of experience. He had experience as a mover, but he didn't have experience as building a culture. Throughout that time, I realized that even after assisting this person and teaching them, to recruit, maintain, and develop talent, there was still a great need. And this is what had led to us deciding to start Big Deals Movers. I felt there was unlimited amount of need there, and you have to care. You have to really have a passion for seeing the process through and understanding that the real gratification comes once you have completely assisted someone at getting to that transition of their life.
Right. But let's say, okay, now you have took the plunge, you started the company. How was the early days? Like, walk me through your life. Like, you will switch from employed to become now all of a sudden a business owner. How did you went about acquiring customers? Like,
Okay, good. So it started out with me literally riding around in my car and with little Ziploc bags of candy and cards and knocking on people's business doors and introducing myself all through Rancho, through Ontario, whether it was storage companies, real estate offices. I was really a lot of groundwork and then a lot of word of mouth. I feel like I've established a very trustworthy relationship with most people that I've come across professionally or personally. So I wasn't wasn't difficult for people to put their name on the line for something that I was going to provide a service for. I think they just trusted I would have pride in. So I started there with the ground roots, and I had to learn a lot, actually. And I think that's the most difficult part is you have to test something, and then you have to tweak it, and then you maybe scale it if it's correct. If not, you got to go back and you got to tweak it and you got to test it again. So I started out there, and eventually I started to build a network of people who I saw, I'll say colleagues now, who I saw doing successful things in the moving industry, right? Coming up with true systems that were duplicatable. And then I eventually went to a moving sales academy, and it was taught by most people in the moving industry knows Louis Massaro. And I went and attended that, and that gave me the courage to expand. And with that expansion, you learn more.
When you first started the company, did you have like residual income, or did you have like money saved up? How was the money situation?
No, I didn't have money saved up. I did realize right away that moving was one of those transactional businesses, meaning like you figure out your cost of goods sold, which is at that time really wasn't that complex, right? How much does it cost for a moving team and a moving truck, right? And then from there, get that money the same day from the customer once you move them. So it was very easy to like cover your cost and get growth, right? And throughout that time, I started to acquire contracts, actually. So I started to do, we primarily did labor only one way. So meaning like if you were moving into California, we would be there with a moving team and we would unload your truck and put your furniture into your home. And then if you were moving out of California, then we would show up with a moving team and we pack and wrap up everything, put it in your truck, and then you'd go one way. So that type of services, which some people don't even consider moving, they consider it as labor, right? That type of services has a lower cost. So we were having to deal with like consistent truck cost and all the other insurances and compliance billing that's required in the state of California. So at that time, I developed at least 4 to 5 really solid contracts that were producing close to 50 moves a month for me. And with my experience already as a P&L operator at my previous organization I worked for, figuring out checks and balances wasn't that difficult for me. I was able to like manage my labor costs. I was able to put together balance sheets, the basic balance sheets, and then I was able to,
Figure it out.
Yeah, figure out what profit was.
What do you think was the most challenging part in that first year?
Finding good people. I think that most homegrown businesses start out with friends and family.
Yeah. As workers, you mean?
As workers, right? But, you don't want to challenge those relationships. You want to drive people to get the best out of them. And then it may be difficult then later to go have dinner with them. So it's like, when do you shut down? My first moving partner was my oldest son, right? My second moving partner was my wife's cousin. So these family members, and it continued like that. I could list all the people in our family that have worked with me. And these family members were trusting me with their sons, right? And out there in the field and doing this really hard work. I eventually got a good understanding of the systems needed to find more talent. So I acquired a staffing company. And that staffing company showed me a procedure and a process they use to find talent. And I duplicated it myself and made it an in-house thing for me. So my most challenging thing in the first year probably would be finding talented people who want to be movers.
And how did you market yourself at the beginning? I know you mentioned like a lot of prospecting and grassroots and stuff.
Well, Instagram, I was marketing. People were noticing that, hey, I was no longer in the fitness industry and now I was onto a new adventure, and friends really wanted to be supportive. I purchased an advert site. I had a company call me one time and just said, hey, look, we want to build you a landing page, and we'll do your SEO, and we'll have like a basic budget for you. I think my marketing budget was like $300, which wasn't very much, right? And that helped me to generate business. At the same time, I started to search like moving contracts, and then I got a contract with at that time with like Simple Moving Labor, and then it was Hire Helper, and then I got a contract contact with moving staffers, movinglabor.com. And then once you find one company like that, you start to find the rest. So now I have 12 different companies that are sending me moves right away. And we just maintained a really high service score. And with that high service score, they continue to bring in more moves, which made it easier for me to help people to have a consistent amount of work. And then you can have, keep good employees.
And talk to me about right now, how you said you make 8,000 moves.
Well, yeah, we're over 8,000 plus moves.
Right. And so how big is your team right now? In an average year, how much do you make, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, right now, I have about a solid 9 team members. And you think, like, gosh, how are you getting it done with a solid 9 team members? Well, it's a very seasonal business. So from November through April, you can keep a solid 9 people really, really busy. Seasonally, I have team members that have worked with me over the last 12 years who will show back up. By next month, by the time spring break hits, I will start to get phone calls. Hey, can I come out for the summer and work for you for the summer? I'll get calls around Christmas break, winter break. I have guys who have the type of employment where they have those break times. Hey, can I come out and work? So my staff can fluctuate from 9 to 20.
Wow.
Throughout the year. Now, along with moving, it's almost like operating 3 different companies. So I have my moving company, then I have my large item team, which are filled with just specialists. So if you get a gun safe moved in your home, you're going to get a specialist who comes out with specialized equipment, and that's all they really do. And then if you have a pool table that needs to be moved, I have 2 people who've been moving pool tables for me for a decade, and that's all they do. They're not going to move household goods. Right. So I don't necessarily count them towards my labor team. Those are just my specialists. And then I have a grand piano mover, and that's all he does is move large pianos. So again, I don't count them towards my regular household goods labor. But when it expands, it can get that high. And on top of that, we do general freight. So I may have 3 or 4 drivers on my team that never ever touch any moving boxes. So if our trucks aren't moving and they're not doing household goods, we are out doing general freight almost every single day.
That's wonderful. And when you say gun safe, what does that mean?
Well, I would say California probably has the most guns sold in our country in a year. Even with our strict laws, there's a lot of gun purchases, and whether a collector or cops or military, which most of my gun safe clients are military, law enforcement, first responders. And once they meet one person who they trust to come to their home to move this 800 to 2,000 pound piece of steel up their stairs, down their stairs, around their house, protect their wood, protect those expensive paint jobs. Some of these gun safes can be as much as $12,000, and it's all paint job. And obviously it's fire protection and those types of things that go along with the cost, which is really important. So it's a big business for us.
Right.
It's like a mature man's game. It's like when you need to measure twice and cut once.
Mm-hmm.
It's that type of industry. And once you're trusted, then you're recommended.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so what would someone watching, like maybe thinking about a moving industry, with your success, like what do you think this industry could make in a year, for example?
Well, I'd say my first year I did, it's been a while now, so somewhere between 60 to 90,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And in my best year, in the 7 figures. Mm-hmm. So I have colleagues that make anywhere from 3 million to 5 million a year as
revenue.
In revenue as an owner of a moving company. So I think it's really about how hard are you willing to work and protecting your business. I think that's really important. So again, my first year, no truck, not even a website. Well, actually, I built my first website on Wix.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done it. Yeah, myself. Yeah.
So, and I got really good at it. I geek out on it all day.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, but
it is. And I can remember like when Wix came out with the boost your website.
Yeah.
I put a little boost money on it, and I put everything on it. I was geeking
with my business, every time I hire a new team member, I realized how much I don't know about things. So the first time I hired my digital ads specialist, the one who runs the ads for our clients, I thought I know Meta ads. But then when I hired him and I see how he works, I'm like, oh my God. Same with web developer. It's like when I hired the first web developer, I thought I know how to build websites until I saw his work.
Yeah.
So, but that's the beauty. We as business owners, we get to hire people that are better than us in their specific niche.
It's a requirement.
Yeah.
If you don't, I can think about a gentleman that was a trainer for me when I was in the fitness industry, and we were having a conversation. And maybe he didn't agree with the person that I hired to be the manager of his department. And I was like, you have to hire people who are better than you. And if I don't hire people that are better than me, then I'm not looking to succeed. Like I'm saying, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I think about it sometimes, and I know he's a very successful person now. He has his own business, and I think sometimes I wonder if he came to the realization that he has to hire people who are smarter than him. And I was like, I hope he did. But you have to do that. And I'll tell you that every single time you go into a new venture as an owner, as a leader, you have to re-educate yourself. And so I spent this entire winter. I like to learn something, like maybe hire someone to do something for me. And then eventually I'll maybe pay them a little bit more to let me learn what they do. And so what's their process, what's their system, or I'll just keep conversating with them and taking down notes until I can figure out what they're doing and how their system works. And then I'll try to in-house it. And then I'll hire someone who knows much more about the process than me. And then from there, I'll just learn from them as well. But what we do have now that I didn't have when I first started are amazing things like Gemini and ChatGPT and Copilot. You can go on there and you can ask them questions. They can give you really detailed, complex understanding. And then from there, you maybe YouTube some things that you can't go wrong with YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube some things. And then I just need to know enough, because if I get too wound up in the nuances of it all, then I'll just have created myself another job, or I'll be micromanaging the process. I really need to figure out where the ROI is on this. What's my expectation? How do I give this person good guidance and tell them what success looks like? Because that's what anyone who's working for you wants to know, like, what does success look like? And if I can tell them that, and I cannot move the goalposts too many times for them so that they can have some really good success, that's what it's all about.
So Big Deal Movers right now, what are the services that you offer?
Our primary service is residential moving. So that I would say 80% of our jobs are residential, commercial, and then we'll do packing and unpacking. We'll do large items, like I mentioned before, with the specialist. We'll do furniture moving in homes, furniture moving, long distance moving, and even help with storage solutions. That's our goal, is to be well-rounded and offer every service that a customer might need.
So for people, I remember when I was choosing a moving company, when I moved from Rancho to Banning, you go on Google and you write movers near me, and there's like a bunch of companies. So how would you set yourself apart? Like, what's different with your services?
Well, anyone with a truck can be a mover. You can go get a mover and be a truck, and get a truck and be a mover. But really, like, if you don't have a plan or know how to put together an appropriate plan to make a customer's move efficient and cost effective, then you're not necessarily a professional. I think that's what separates it. And I think some of the biggest mistakes that people make is they get the cheapest movers and have the greatest expense in the end. For us, you call Big Deals Movers, you're going to get a move coordinator who probably talks to 2,000 people a year. That move coordinator is going to take the time to collect your inventory. We're going to put it into this amazing system that's going to give us cubic measurements and cubic weight of what's in your home. And then from there, it's going to recommend to us like how many movers and what size truck you're going to need. And then from there, we're going to have a real conversation with you about, this is our recommendation for you. Now, I understand that the majority of people who can afford moving are like in a boss's position. You're dealing with like CEOs and owners of businesses and managers. You just have to be able to have the soft skills to hear what they're saying, and when they're not saying it, to be able to get them to trust you and get them to take your recommendation, so you can really provide them what you want, is a cost-effective and efficient move. I want to hear, because I close out 9 out of 10 moves. I speak to every customer at the end. And when I speak to them, I'm looking forward to, because I'm not afraid to talk to them. I know they had a good experience. I know my coordinators done a great job. I know my dispatchers got my movers there on time. I know the movers showed up, greeted the customer, and did everything they were supposed to do inside the perfect move process, because we understand that good people and good systems will give you a good product. And as long as we continue to focus there in that area, it's a success.
That's awesome. What are some common mistakes that people have?
Oh, well, I think common mistakes people have is I think they put their budget in front of their plan. I think that's one. I think they, what is that saying? Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they get hit in the face. So I think it's the same way. I think consumers underestimate level of planning required in a move until move day arrives. So then it leads to underestimation of packing time, underestimation of what really needs to be moved out the house. How much time? Yeah, that guy came in and installed that bed. It took him an hour that day you bought it new. Yes, that appliance person brought that refrigerator in and put it in your refrigerator. It was a 1 hour, installation. But now you have to combine everything in your home and think about how much time it's going to take us to do a great job to disassemble what needs to be disassembled, wrap and prep everything that needs to be prepped, put it in the truck. I think that they don't understand the coordination. And so the biggest mistake I feel like they can make of all is not allowing the moving company who's willing to work with you on a plan to actually come up with a plan with you and help you execute it. You're a boss. You have your own business, right? Someone comes in and they want to help you with your moving plan. Naturally, you're going to try to go out and lead the charge. You lead from the front. That's what you do. A lot of people we move are the same way. They're bosses, they're leaders, they're CEOs, and it's difficult for them to just put things down and step back
and delegate to the profession.
Yes, because they're used to being responsible in the end, no matter what, delegate or not. If things go wrong and you're a real leader, you'll take accountability. And these are the people we're moving. So they feel this natural desire to get in there. And I think you should. There's one other big mistake that homeowners make, and that's not being present on move day. Not being present. You have time, you're going to move someone and they go and take their family and they go to Disneyland for the day. And then they get one of their employees who works for them and they give them a list and say, these things need to be moved and these things don't. This is going to stay. And you're not able to get real time feedback in return from the customer. And so you're moving things twice. You're moving things you shouldn't. You get to the next house and then now they're done at Disneyland. This is a real-ish story. Right. And then they get done at Disneyland. They're like, well, this is supposed to stay at the other house. Why did you bring it? And the movers are like, we just done what we thought we were supposed to do. This is the instruction we're being given. So I think that's another real common mistake. And it happens a lot.
And when it comes to moving, I'm sure that you've experienced a lot of crazy stories.
Yeah.
So can you share some nuts stories?
There'll be the times where maybe it's unfortunately a divorce and one of the couples show up and they want to argue in front, or your movers is carrying a sofa and the husband runs and jumps on the sofa while they're carrying it because he's like, that's my sofa, you can't take it. There's those. But I think the wildest story I've had is I got this call from a block number and the person's encrypted, hey, I need to move and it needs to be a secret and I can only pay cash. And they didn't even really want to give me their name. They gave me a nickname. I won't say that nickname just in case they're watching. I won't say it. So they wanted to meet me at a certain time on this certain street. And so I called a friend of mine. I was like, hey man, what do you think about this? Right. He had a local moving company in Ontario. He's like, you want me to go? I'll just hang out down the street. And I said, I'm just going to go. I'm going to trust it. I get there. They're all covered up, have a hoodie on and it's dark. And they give me this envelope of cash and they give me a list of what I need to move. No address to it. I don't have an address. I don't know where I'm going yet. And they go, look, this is half of it and I'll connect with you a couple days before the move and I'll give you the address. So a couple days before the move, private call comes in. This is the address. So I look it up. I'm like, wow, this is a big house. I look from Google. They have a pool. They have a tennis court. They have a basketball court in the back. And I understand like how these types of homes are furnished. They're going to need like 4 or 5 movers, but they're insisting no more than 3. They didn't want this to get out. So we had to be there at 7:36 in the morning.
36, not 30.
7:36. So we drive up to near the house. We park around the corner, and right around 7:34, we start making our way around the corner. And I look at the house. I knew they had this nice circle driveway there. So I pulled the truck up into the circle driveway, and I look, and I'm like, gosh, how are we going to move all this stuff? The house has got to be. I even looked on a real estate page, and I saw they have a lot of furniture, and it didn't match the list. And the list is just a list. Move day, they want everything the truck can take. Okay. But soon as I turned off the truck, like 5 cars that were parked on the street, the doors opened and people got out, front seat, back seat, and they blitzed this house. Doors open, everyone goes inside, they're wrapping furniture, they're taking out pictures, they're doing everything they can. And I meet this person again, how you doing? And they are rushing everything out to our truck. We get in the truck, and within like 2 hours, we're out of there. Doors are closed. I mean, there's still stuff left in the house. Doors
Looks like a heist to me.
And listen, okay, so I'm glad you said that. At what point I was wondering, are we stealing?
Exactly.
But this person's pictures are all over the walls.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
I see the family. I see things going on. I'm like, okay, so we're in someone's house, and we're out of there. Boom, we take off and we go unload, and we get to a house that obviously this person probably has been living in for some time, because you could see like a mattress on the floor, and one of the bedrooms were already furnished. And we unloaded and went on our way, and they gave me an envelope with the balance of the cash. And
So it was a divorce situation?
no one wanted to
Nobody
talk.
knows.
No one wanted to talk.
Wow.
No.
That's wild.
It was wild. It was wild. Wild. And I think to myself, I was like, I must have really needed the move. I must have really needed the money to go out and trust the situation. But we have to think about it, like stressful things in people's lives are with divorce, marriage, buying a home, moving.
Yeah.
Sometimes these are all happening in one day,
Yeah.
right? It's nothing like the time you go.
Speaking of one day, if someone is planning a move, watching us, listening to us, and planning they have a move coming up, how they should approach this problem or this event, and how long should they plan ahead?
Let's just say it's a standard move, like not like a weird situation.
Just a house.
Well, I always think they should plan like a month in advance at minimum, because that gives us a fair chance to help them with a plan. The process of like cleaning up your house, discarding what you don't need, packing, discarding the rest of the stuff you don't need, that could take 2 or 3 weeks, right? And then there's escrow. Is it going to be on time? Is it going to be early or late? Those types of situations you want to account for. Generally, if you book early with a moving company, they're going to prioritize any type of change that comes up. So I think that could be really important. And then you said, how should they get a hold of us?
No, I was just talking about like how they should prepare for it. Do they need to do anything themselves, or like, let's say everything like that, and you guys will handle it?
Okay. Unfortunately, like most people's experience with moving is what they saw on a movie, like where people are just sitting around the house and the movers are doing everything. However, in real time, that's just not the case. It's really important. Like if you never had packed or prepped a house before, hire a moving company for 2 or 3 hours just to come in and help get you kick-started. I think that would be really cost-effective for most people to have someone give them a kickstart. But if you want to do it on your own, because this is your intimate items and you don't want people involved in what you're going to put in your boxes, then just remember, anything that needs to be picked up, take everything off of it. Photos, pictures, the situations I've walked in, and when like the kids are watching TV, eating cereal, the moms are cooking breakfast in the morning and washing clothes, and nothing's prepared, right? And those are the type of situations that turn into like 12, 14-hour days.
And you guys charge per hour?
We do charge per hour. And there is a huge benefit to being charged per hour, because you'll pay for the time you need and you won't pay for the time you don't. There are minimums. There are 2 hours or 3 hour minimums, but most of our single item moves will be, quoted out at a flat rate, because we can really put them on a schedule. We know it takes 1 or 2 hours to move certain type of items. But when it comes to household goods, it's always going to be on an hourly rate.
Right. I mean, listening to you speak and your journey, it makes me wonder, because it takes a certain breed of people to become successful at business. If you look at the stats, you're talking 97% of business fail within this first 2 years.
Yeah.
And so with you and Big Deal Movers, you've been in the business for 11 years now, I believe.
12 year anniversary is coming up here.
So what do you feel, or what do you think the secret to success you had?
Well, I think you have to deal with your highs and lows in a balanced manner. I think that's number one. Like any entrepreneur is going to have mornings when they're in doubt and they're ready to cry and give up. But if you only perform well on the days you feel well, you'll have a lot of days that you'll have left to the wayside. And when you have to perform well, even on the days you don't feel well. If you wake up and you feel discouraged, you have to probably take some time for yourself and exercise and read a book or call a friend, call a colleague. I would say majority of my success has come from probably money management more than anything has helped me a lot. Most importantly, like I know people who have lost their moving companies in the last couple of years, and a lot of it is just poor money management.
Right.
I think at times when you are making additional money, you just have to put it away and decide that if the money spent is not an investment, then you probably shouldn't spend it.
So keeping money it's kind of like the same advice with individuals who are employed or whatever, like proper personal finances. The same goes with business, because I get tempted a lot to buy more equipment and buy this and buy that.
It is. It's the fun part. Your studio is awesome.
Yeah.
And when I first walked in here, I looked at it. All I thought was like, he had fun buying this and buying that and buying this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you probably saved for it.
Yeah.
You saw it as an investment. You know how it would improve my experience here today. Now it's worth it.
Yeah. And luckily, my wife and I are very anti-credit. So we did not even have a credit card. So everything here was built little by little. We saved enough money. At first, we had one set. We finished that. And we're like, okay, let's use that one now. And then people will be walking in, like they can obviously see that there's only like one little corner that is recordable. And then slowly by slowly, we started adding it because we don't like credit. So yeah, I'm blessed in that. Does your wife work with you as well?
She did for 5 years. She took a break from working outside the home, which she really enjoyed. And I would tell her, hey, babe, if you just give me a few years out of your life, I could really catapult this, because she has experience. She has a degree in organizational management and with HR emphasis. And there was so much talent that she could bring to our company that I didn't have time to think about. So everyone in my family has worked for my company. My oldest son was my first mover. My second, my middle child, which is my son, he was not my second mover, but he came out and he developed his own team right after college. He was in transition, and he had himself 10 movers, and I was brokering him work for at least 3 years, and I appreciate every moment he dedicated to helping me grow. My daughter started out as my social media manager, and then she became our lead sales manager, and she helped develop so many sales systems for me.
Yeah.
And she actually just took a break from it too. I understand it, because like I said earlier, it's like I'd rather drive someone who is not necessarily a friend or a family, so that they can then disconnect from work and go home and separate it. And that's kind of where she is now. She doesn't know, but secretly she's about to get back in and be my business development person, but she'll find out soon.
I'm asking you because I'm dealing with that situation. Like, my wife had a great job outside, but luckily our company now is able to afford her coming on board. I'm also nervous because I've never worked with her before. So our relationship, is there any tips that you have for people or couples who are trying to work together?
Oh gosh, my wife's going to watch this. I would say that the tip is to maybe don't force them into a need you have, but give them an opportunity to express a talent they have. So if this is an area that works for them and is their expertise, then don't later try to make them manage another part of the business that doesn't fit. Because I think at that point, they'll lose the fun. And then you'll also have lost the opportunity to maybe go out and just hire an assistant or a VA or someone who can do that type of work, and just let your wife focus in the area that she feels she's getting gratification from.
That's good advice, because also when it comes to authority, like when you're the owner or the boss of the business, you're the boss of the business. But at home, we're not the boss, so we're equal with our partners or spouse. So how do you manage that? Like, you're used to be the boss and now you're not the boss.
Well, my leadership style always has been leading through questions. I learned it really early, like, hey, would it be okay if you went ahead and folded that blanket? Could you do me a favor and assist me with this report? I've always found that leading through questions helps. So just maintain that and make sure that she felt like she was doing it on her own time. I also just had to make sure I managed my stresses, because sometimes I'm like, right now, right? And she's not necessarily right now. Like, seven things could be going on this room at the same time, and I see all seven.
Right.
I'm great at that. She's very monofocused on whatever she's working on, and I have to understand that when that's just the way she works. So when she's on project A, it will be best for me to go ahead and put project B in writing and on her calendar, and maybe source some resources for her. And then she's going to come back and do it way better than I could have done it.
That's wonderful. Thank you for the advice. Books and people that shaped you.
Well, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, a Stephen Covey book.
Yeah.
I know it's cliche, but
I read it too. It's a very good book.
It's a book I wish I would have read when I was in my early 20s, when my children were young, so I could have helped structure some paradigm in my home through that. And I think that's something that's important to me. And I love this book. Like, I listen to the summary version of it all the time. I listen to this book consistently. If my employees are riding in my work truck with me, they're like, oh, here we go, Stephen Covey. I make them listen to it all the time, because I want them to understand that there's the time when you're, dependent, and then you'll transition to independent. And sometimes people get stuck there, and they don't realize when we work in groups and teams that interdependency is extremely important, right? It's like, oh, I don't need that person. I don't need their help. Well, you really do need their help. Like, showing you that you can do it all yourself does not help in a team atmosphere. So Stephen Covey, that book is one of my top books. Next, I would say The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. I really enjoy all his books, like the 50th Power, 48 Laws of Power, Mastery. Even Seduction wasn't his greatest book, but I like it. So Robert Greene's books are really important to me. The Laws of Human Nature is probably a book I re-listen to probably once a quarter. It's a really thick book, so I'll find myself listening to it more. And then Never Split the Difference.
Oh, I've read that too.
It's a really good book. It's important. Is that Mark Cross, I think, or Mark Haas? I think it is.
Yeah, he used to lead terrorist or kidnapping investigations for the FBI or something like that.
Yeah,
or CIA.
It's important in my industry, like, especially like, hey, we hope everything goes perfect on a move, but when something doesn't, we have to take accountability and be responsible. So when I'm having a conversation with a customer about a claim or a concern, I don't want to feel like I'm overpowering their thought with my opinion or trying to like guide them down the road I want them to guide down. Like, this is really not a big deal. We'll take care of it, or it's your fault, or I don't want it to feel that way. I'd rather stop and ask the appropriate questions, because sometimes it leads them to the answers, and sometimes it leads us to the answers. But at the same time, I give them a chance to be heard. And that's what's most important. And then I walk away in that situation and I learn something from it. And also realize, I'm just not going to split the difference. It's like win or no deal. One way or another. Yeah. One last book. Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Wayne Dyer. I don't know. I've read every one of Wayne Dyer's books multiple times.
I heard of him.
They're really good. Like, it can get confusing for you. I think you have to be in a transition in your life to understand, because Wayne Dyer will make you give away everything in this room because you feel like you're attached to items.
Material things.
Yeah. So you have to really go into, like, there's those mornings where I maybe come May, when it's so stressful, like the next 5 months is going to be nothing but stress about moving from 4 a.m. till 2 a.m. I listen to a lot of Wayne Dyer right there. It helps me get recentered, and it's really important. And I feel like there's some team members I've worked with over the last 12 years that I've mentored, And once I get them to a point, then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, so now I'm listening to Wayne Dyer now," because I won't give a Wayne Dyer tour. Right?
Right.
That's like the last step to it all. He's the
Yeah.
final boss.
It's very cool that you get the chance to. I'm sure that you listen more than you read, right? Because you're on the road all the time.
Yeah, well, 13 books a year I try to read.
Oh, so you have a goal, like a
Yeah.
target.
13 books I read a year, and I'll try to listen to 24 books a year.
That's awesome.
I have to. And I have some real sharp colleagues that it's a new book all the time. So I have to like try to keep up, just keep up in the circle of conversation.
Why it's important? Why you said you have to?
Well, as you get older, I think you get so much information in your mind. And if you don't continue to like feed it the information you need to be able to make good decisions and to be a good problem solver, I like to be looked at as a good problem solver. And if you're not able to, you don't have enough information to have good discernment, then I think that you'll try to solve every problem the same way.
Yeah.
You have to understand there's so many different ways to solve a problem, and there's so much more information out there.
Yeah.
And I think they all kind of like take a book out of Stephen Covey's page out of his book and they create their own concept, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's so interesting what you said, because for me, I understood a little bit about the human brain, believe it or not, right after ChatGPT was released. Because when ChatGPT was released, I was obsessed for like a period of 3 months. I want to know how this thing can produce intelligent thought.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and studied like how they build that, large language model.
Yeah.
And the way it seems that the way our mind works is kind of similar. So the way ChatGPT works is basically you dump the internet data, you give it a lot of data, and it start to come up with patterns. And so it will be able to kind of like produce that intelligent thought. The same thing with our human brain. The more you feed the brain with knowledge and skills and data,
yeah,
it will become like intelligent. And so it's kind of the same thing. So when I realized that, I know that, okay, that's the importance of reading books and listening to podcasts and keep feeding yourself, because you learn or you die, really. This is so important for me.
It's true. And to know and to not do is to not know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and that could be a problem when people read too many books or they listen to too many books. They don't stop and do implementation of what they are learning. So I'm trying to do a combination. Some things I got from Alex Ramosi is to...
Another great guy,
right? Sometimes it's hard to listen to him. It makes you feel like I sleep too much because this guy gets everything done, right? But now I'm reading the book while listening to the book. So I have a chair similar to this, I have a light similar to this, and it sits there in the morning. I have my time set aside to read. And he's like, you don't just read it, you listen to it and read it at the same time. Now I got my highlighter and I got my glasses on and I'm just out.
Does it help like to listen and read at the same time?
It took me like 3 months to learn how to do it. It wasn't easy. It was more difficult than just reading or just listening.
Yeah.
It was more, but after a while, and I wasn't sure if it was just everyone has their own reading speed or what the case was, but after a while, I started to retain a lot better. And then I'd stop and I'd take notes on what I was doing, or I'd open up my journal app and I'd speak on it. And,
right.
And I had to do other things to just really sandwich it into my head because, like I said, there's just so much information that you take in. So I did take a break from self-help books for about a year, and maybe a year and a half. I might have taken in one or two, and I dove into Eric Jerome Dickey. He was one of my favorite authors when I was a young man. When I met my wife, it was like a huge part of my memory of my youth. I met her and she's like reading a Dracula book or a vampire book someone gave her. And I was like, and I had this Eric Jerome Dickey book, and I'm like, hey, I know I just met you today, but you want to exchange books? Now, I never read that book that she gave me. I wasn't intended on it, but I wanted her to read this book. And it was telling her everything I wanted to tell her, really, right? And after that, she became one of our favorite authors. So we obviously started dating, and then we both started reading through his books. And then, she started getting really overwhelmed with college. So she's a much better reader than I am too. But she started getting really overwhelmed with college. So she wasn't reading as much. And I was getting overwhelmed with, I was already in a leadership position and I was working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I had to really put away pleasure reading. But last year I stopped and said, you know what? Pulled up the list and I said, I'm going to go through every book of his I didn't read. And I might have went through 16, 17 books at this point that are just pleasure reading. Eric Jerome Dickey, check them out. He passed away a couple years ago, but in his honor, I'm catching up.
Sounds good. So as you can see, we have a moon here, and the idea behind the moon is that, this is the achievement of a human imagination. So if you think about your life and you let your mind go wild, like what is your dream? What is your moonshot?
Gosh, I'm quite a simple guy. I would say my moonshot would be just building a very trustworthy company. When someone thinks about a moving company that's reliable and trustworthy, they want to refer to their friend or put their name on it, they'll say, no doubt, call Big Deal's Movers. And as long as I continue to think that way, we will grow to be an even bigger company than we are now. And in the end, maybe someday I'll build a nice adobe compound and all my children can come back and stay there with me, with my grandchildren.
That's wonderful.
That would be my moonshot.
I love it. And it's that space that we carve ourselves in this big giant universe. Like we want to solve the moving problem. And, that's a good, worthy cause to do, and that's pretty good. And how can people, if they're like listening, would I want to get in touch with you when they have a moving job or they want to refer you, how can they get in touch?
Yeah. BigDealsMovers.com. Whether on your mobile or on your computer, easily accessible to you. You can give us a call at 1-833-202-MOVE. That's 1-833-202-6683. Give us a call. We have move coordinators on at least 12 hours a day. They would love to sit down, talk to you about your inventory, and help you come up with an amazing plan. We also have Instagram. It's Big Deals Movers on Instagram. Check us out.
And we'll put some links in the description as well. Greg, thank you so much. That was wonderful. And I learned a lot personally from talking to you. You're such a wealth, and I love your humility and everything about you. Thank you so much for coming.
I appreciate you. I really do.